Welcome to Inside Gloucester County. I'm your host, Carol Thornton. Our topic today is BankShot Sports, and joining me later in the show, we're going to hear from the founder of BankShot Sports, Dr. Reed Brenner, and also the director of the Human Services Department here in Gloucester County, Dave Armour. Dr. Brenner, I've got to ask you, this is a fairly new sport here, at least to Gloucester County. What is BankShot Sports?
Well, you're quite right. It is a new sport. BankShot basketball, one of our BankShot sports, is the only ball-playing family sport invented in the 20th century. And the new sport, BankShot tennis and BankShot pitch and throw, are thus far the only ball-playing sports of the 21st century. And we call them family sports because, unlike other sports, they're non-aggressive, non-violent. They are not based on speed, strength, and stamina, but on skill. And players don't play against each other. They play rather alongside each other. Think of all the ball-playing sports there are in the world. They're all wonderful, but they're aggressive, mano-a-mano. You play against someone, baseball, basketball, football, tennis, soccer, rugby, you name them. They're wonderful sports, but you play against each other, not alongside each other. There are only two other ball-playing sports where you play alongside each other. Do you know what they are, Carol? I saw you playing BankShot, playing very well. I got you on film playing.
That's right.
And the only two ball-playing sports, arguably, they're ball-playing sports where you play alongside each other are golf. See those? No offense and defense in golf. And bowling, where you play alongside each other. Not easy for a wheelchair athlete to play either of those two sports, unlike our sports. And our sports were designed, which is to say BankShot sports, were designed as total mixed sports based on universal design. That means everybody can do it. A wheelchair athlete can roll up and play it alongside with everybody else. And the beauty of putting in some new sports in the world was to get away from all these aggressive sports and find companionable sports, sports that are friendly, that do not arouse aggression and violence, and that are inclusionary in the sense that everybody can do it. That's the point.
Dr. Brenner explains how to play BankShot tennis.
You go from station to station. You want to bank your shots off the bank boards, through hoops, and into a catcher for different point valuations, and it ain't easy. But the skillful player learns how to play it, improves his or her accuracy, and collects increasingly more points as they improve. That's a perfect score. Everybody can play these sports. Strength, stamina, speed are not factors. There's no running to them. It's accuracy and precision, practice, and a lot of luck.
Mark, I understand that you are a regular player of wheelchair tennis. What's your impression of the BankShot tennis court game?
The BankShot tennis is a very challenging game. I think very similar to tennis in that way. It involves accuracy and precision, no different than on the tennis court. And I think anybody that's involved in sports likes competitiveness and likes competition. So it's really awesome. I've enjoyed the challenges that it presents. BankShot tennis is, when I first looked at it, and I think when you first look at it, it looks like impossible angles, and you think, how am I going to get the ball in? But as soon as you try it, it works. I mean, the whole concept of banking the shot off the boards and into the net, it's real possible. It just takes practice like everything else.
BankShot was invented in 1981. How did you come up with the idea?
Wow, that's a real story. Firstly, my playmate as a child was my cousin Janice. She was a terrific athlete. Today, she's still a terrific athlete, but she's in a wheelchair. She was in an automobile accident, and that changed her life. And I looked around, and I saw that there were no sports that she and I could go out and play. I mean, think of a wheelchair athlete. He can, today, he can find ramps that will accommodate him to get out to a court, but what court? There are no facilities. Regular basketball, he'd have to have everyone sit in a wheelchair in order to compete. Same with tennis, any other sport. So the idea was to create sports where the wheelchair athlete not only uses a ramp to get to the facility, but actually can participate in the facility, and that requires players playing alongside each other, not against each other.
Even though you're playing alongside of one another, it's competitive.
You can, like in bowling.
Exactly.
In golf, you play against each other, but the truth of the matter is you're not. You're playing against yourself and the course. It's a derivative sport from the popular sports. So BankShot basketball is a non-running, non-aggressive sport based on basketball. BankShot tennis is obviously a game where you do not play against, it's a tennis game where you don't play against each other but alongside each other. You're playing essentially against the court itself. Incidentally,
yes,
the BankShot the sport that I created in the 21st century, I call it the BankShot Tri sport, T-R-I sport, because you play it not only with a tennis racket, which is its first and ultimate purpose, but the pitcher and the thrower plays it as well. Essentially, you're bouncing the ball off through hoops, off boards, and into a catcher. Sometimes the ball goes like swish. Something to see. And then another one, swish. And the kids are standing there having swiped at it, having pitched it, and the kids are into making these shots. They don't even realize immediately that they're playing a brand new sport.
You were involved in bringing this to Gloucester County. How did you hear about BankShot sports?
Well, from 1990, when the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed, the federal government was put into place. Title II of that required local governments to make accommodations for people with handicaps. And I traveled around the county looking at some of the buildings to check on accessibility. And in that process, met many people with disabilities and discussed the progress we made in that area, and learning from them that even though persons with disabilities have access to facilities, there are very few adaptations where the sports or recreation activities are modified so that they can play together with persons without disabilities. And a couple years later, I saw an article in Parks and Recreation magazine that showed the BankShot court and talked about the concept and the adaptation of the sports to create a total mix opportunity. Called Dr. Brenner, learned more about it, and began the process of trying to get the first court located in Gloucester County.
And I should point out that the courts are open to the public, so not just people with disabilities, but at one time I did see young ladies, young men out there and having a good time with the sport.
The National Association of Counties each year presents an award for excellence for the one county in the country that has done the most to present opportunities for persons with disabilities. And they chose the BankShot program and total mix concept that Gloucester County fostered to receive the award at Philadelphia at the National Convention.
If you think of the artists like Miro and Kandinsky and Clay and Newman and others like, you can sense that their art has been expressed here. Now, this is participatory art. That is to say, you need to have a scientific approach, but essentially you are participating in an art milieu, which allows you to be part of the landscape. And the beauty of it is the intellectual element gets tapped in these sports. You have to think, you have to use calibration, preconception. You have to approach the game like you would a science. In fact, the game has been displayed in a science museum, and you'd be interested to know that it's been also displayed in 2 art museums as play and art. Museum of Modern Art in New York City in their design department, and the Israel National Museum in Jerusalem. Very proud of that.
There it is again. Don't ask me to do it yet another time.
And Dr. Brenner, I noticed that you are wearing a colorful tie, and I understand that a child designed it. Tell me about that.
Very special. It's true. Well, you know that we're very proud of the fact that Gloucester County has several sports and that it won this award, which was so significant. And it gives us a lot of pride in that fact that it's being used so well. And we get a special kick out of the fact that there are institutions such as the St. Augustine, Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind that has a wonderful system, and they use it so well. And Camp Simcha, a camp for terminally ill children in New York, uses the system, has it. We're very proud of that. And in Orlando, Florida, there is a well-known institution for kids, terminally ill kids who are brought down there to do anything they want in Orlando, everything. They're all free of charge. They take down their family. They just give the kids everything. And one of the things they give to the kids is BankShot programs, BankShot basketball, BankShot tennis, BankShot pitch and throw. And when I was down there, because I arranged and helped arranged for the acquisition and the installation of this BankShot system in Orlando for Give Kids the World, they gave me this time and they asked me to make sure that all people are aware of this wonderful program that they have for terminally ill kids. So this is what I'm doing when I wear this tie.
Okay, and before we go, we're going to wrap things up, but if you can mention the website. You have a website?
Yes, we do. We're very proud of the fact that the BankShot has found its way into 2 museums because of its beauty, and two museums of art, and 1 museum of science. So they'll see, when they get to the website, they'll see some very beautiful things. It's www.bankshot.com. Can't be simpler than that, bankshot.com. I hope people will look in.
Okay, thank you both for joining me today. And thank you for watching Inside Gloucester County. Be sure to tune in next week.